So when you're new to Amazon FBA, there's a lot of things that you're going to get wrong. And the issue with it is that mistakes can cost you a lot of time and a lot of money. So in this video, I'm going to give you 7 of the most common Amazon FBA mistakes that newbies make. So obviously this includes ourselves, right? So at the moment, we're doing 6 figures a month, but honestly, we made a lot of these mistakes along the way. So hopefully if you watch this entire video, you can avoid some of them. So this is going to be part 1 of this video, and in part 2, I'll cover a load more mistakes that we often see people make. All right, so mistake number 1 is not ordering enough stock. So I see this a lot, even with other Amazon FBA gurus where they talk about their own student results. So you'll see them say things like this.
It's 26 days.
Amazing. That's incredible. Congratulations. And you've now sold out?
Thank you. Completely sold out. Yeah, I'm out of stock, which is unbelievable. It's an annoying, but I guess it's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think with a product price like yours, right? You want to be able to test that market, and now you've gone and ordered more units, which is like fantastic as well.
Now it's often seen as a badge of honor to go out of stock, but honestly, it's a little bit of a disaster. So what Johnny says here about testing the market, honestly, it's just terrible advice. You need to be properly forecasting your sales and ordering enough stock to last at least 2 months so that you can avoid going out of stock. So you can see here from this guy's BSR graph, he sold for about 2 weeks and he's now been out of stock for over 4 months. Now the reason for why this is a bit of a disaster is that going out of stock for this long, it means that Amazon just kind of hates this listing now. Keeping a product in stock, it tells Amazon that they can trust you. It helps you rank organically. And the issue is now, when he comes back in stock, he won't sell anywhere near as many units as when he launched because he's wasted his honeymoon period, and Amazon won't be as kind as when his product was brand new. So to avoid this, you always want to order enough stock for at least 2 months of sales so that you can launch, sell really well, and then stay in stock so that you maintain all of your sales velocity and you start to rank really well. So selling for 2 weeks, then being out of stock for months is a disaster that you want to try and avoid. All right, so mistake number 2 is not knowing your numbers. Now, a big mistake that people make is they don't calculate everything properly. So in any business where you're buying and selling stuff, it's pretty simple, right? You buy for X and then you sell for Y. And the difference between those 2 numbers is your profit. Well, kind of. Obviously, you need to know exactly what it costs to buy your product, ship it to Amazon, and then sell it to the customer with PPC and everything else. So if you miscalculate your shipping, duties, FBA fees, PPC costs, then you're going to end up selling a lot of stuff but not making any cash. And it's a disaster in terms of time wasted. So ideally, you should be using an ROI calculator like the one here from FBA Blueprint that helps you calculate every single cost that goes into selling your product. So don't underestimate how important this is. It's probably the most important thing that you need to get right as a beginner. Okay, so mistake number 3 is trying to do it alone. Okay, so I know there's a lot of skepticism out there around people selling courses, and honestly, a lot of it is justified. However, I honestly believe that you really need to get guidance from somebody who really knows their shit. Yes, you can learn Amazon FBA from YouTube content. There is some good content out there from legit sellers. But the vast majority of FBA content on YouTube is honestly pretty crap. It's outdated and often just wrong. So Amazon FBA is unique in that you can create a business from scratch and grow it really quickly in a pretty short amount of time. If you imagine how long it takes to open something like a pizza restaurant, for example, the amount of investment that you need to put into it, you need to hire staff, physical space, it takes an absolute mountain of cash and a lot of time. So Amazon is so much faster and requires way less capital. But regardless of that, you will benefit massively whether you start an FBA business or you open, Mario's Pizza Place, if you get guidance from someone that's been there and who's done it before. So genuinely, if you're looking to do this seriously, find someone who is legit, they know their shit, and you can learn from them so you avoid costly mistakes and you just speed up the whole process. All right, so mistake number 4 is not factoring in PPC and returns into your ROI. Okay, so this one is absolutely massive, right? When you're looking at your ROI and your profit margin of your product, you need to be taking into consideration your advertising cost and your return cost. So many people make this mistake, and it's because almost every single YouTube guru out there says that you need a 30% profit margin to make a product work. Well, this is technically true, right? But what they don't tell you is that you need to factor in the biggest cost, which is PPC. Now, the easiest way to do this is to work out your gross profit margin and then add on top 15 to 20% to the cost to account for PPC and returns. Now you can use a fancy calculator like the one I just showed you from FBA Blueprint, or you can just do a simple calculation. So if your landed cost, for example, is $10, just add on $1.50 to $2 and see how that impacts your ROI and profit margin. Now the reason why this is so important is because you really need to know for every dollar that you spend, how much do you get back into the business? So AKA your ROI. If you want a healthy business that generates enough cash flow to keep reinvesting and launching new products, you need at least 80 to 100% ROI after your PPC and returns. So make sure you're taking this into account when you're evaluating a product. Don't fall into the trap of thinking, well, my ROI is 90%, but forgetting to add 15 to 20% on top to your product cost for PPC and returns. Okay, so mistake number 5 is creating poor quality listings. Now this is a huge one that honestly there's no excuse for. Too many times people send me their product, they're not doing very well, and I go on there and I check them and the listings are pretty shit. Now this is the number one thing that you've got control over, right? And it massively impacts how well your products will sell. So it's where you need to invest the most time and the most money, obviously after actually developing the product itself. So think of the biggest and the most successful companies in the world. You've got Apple, Tesla, all of these companies that have amazing branding where visually everything just looks beautiful. So obviously you don't have the same budget as Apple, right? I get that. But you really should be investing enough where your listing looks really, really good. It's not rocket science, and if you're using cheap photoshopped images or you're doing the photography yourself, then the result that you're gonna get is just not gonna be great. So this is one of the ways that you can get a real advantage in a niche, as most of the Chinese sellers on Amazon, they've got really poor listings. So make sure you do this properly. I've actually got a video on how to make great listings that's honestly worth checking out, and I might do another one soon that's a little bit more in depth, but you can check it out here. Okay, so mistake number 6 is not having a proper launch plan. So a proper launch plan is crucial to the success of your product, right? You need to be doing in-depth keyword research. You need to be using those keywords to build your listing and then set up structured PPC campaigns to drive as many clicks to your listing as possible. So far too many people that I see, they don't do this bit properly. They rush into launching something before everything is ready. So if you want to see exactly how we do our product launches, you can see a full breakdown in a video here. Just make sure you have a solid plan, right? And make sure you're ready to aggressively launch your new product to give it the best chance of ranking and getting all those juicy organic keyword ranks. All right, so number seven mistake is creating brands that look exactly the same as everyone else. So you may have seen this in my recent video on purple cows, but if you didn't, you should obviously check it out. But basically what I was saying is that you need to be different in order to stand out. Nobody notices brown cows in a field, right? But if one of those cows is purple, then you whip out your iPhone and you start telling the world. So Amazon is a sea of brown cows. So if you bring a product that looks the same as everyone else, then you're honestly going to struggle. So try to think a little bit outside the box. Don't follow the crowd. Don't fall into the trap of bringing products to the market that look the same as what currently exists. So do as much as you can to differentiate and stand out. A great example of this is a brand called Zesty Paws. So if you look at their branding, it's big, it's bright, it's colorful, and historically in the pet supplement niche, which is what Zesty Paws is, the brands in there were honestly like pretty dull looking. They all kind of looked old fashioned and they looked the same. So Zesty Paws came into this niche and immediately they stood out just because of their branding. Now, there's obviously a bit more to their success than just their branding, but their out of the box thinking with their branding surely played a part in their success. All right, so that was it for part 1. Make sure you check out our latest video where we break down our $140,000 month in May. And also, man, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because you will get notified when part 2 of this video is released. And I'll see you in the next one.